Welcome to the Stuff and Things Podcast, your home for all stuff related to your favorite things in entertainment. Now, here are your hosts.
We got a soup terrorist. Rayner's blowing a canister, and we're the most wanted in the country. But don't you worry. Daddy's home.
Welcome everybody back to the Stuff and Things Podcast. I am Sam. We're talking about The Boys, Season 3, Episode 7, penultimate episode of the season. Joining me, it's my boy, it's Stefan.
Yo, 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 yo.
Wow, that was very street.
I thought I'd try something new, you know.
Yeah, no, I'm alright, man. How's things with you? How's the weather? We're very British. We need to discuss the weather.
Oh, it's bloody gorgeous today.
That's what I like to hear, mate. That's good news.
And I'm sat in a little room with a hot computer, sweating my ass off. Yeah, it is beautiful today.
Well, you have, as always, my friend, painted a beautiful picture with words to our listeners, and I'm sure every single one of them really appreciates it.
That's fine. I like to do my thing, you know.
I like to do my thing. As I said, we are discussing The Boys Season 3, Episode 7. The title of the episode was...
Here Comes a Candle to Light You to Bed.
Are they getting more random? like last week was called Herogasm, and I was like, okay, I get it. I know what that is. This is a big part of the episode. Herogasm, yeah. Okay. I feel like I've really missed something in this episode with this title. Like, it's going to be something really obvious that I've missed.
No, you say that, I am looking through IMDb and goofs and trivia and all stuff like that. Nope, I got no idea.
Someone somewhere will know. Message us, please. But don't be too abusive about it. Don't be cocky. There's no need for that. Just, hey, I think it's this. That's all you need to say. You're not, hey, dumbass, or nothing like that. It's rude. Not saying that that's happened before, but it's happened before. This episode, then, this is the penultimate episode of the season. It's an 8-episode season like they all are. So next week is the finale. We know we have a season 4 coming, which I'm delighted about.
Heck yeah.
Do you think, just before we dive into this episode, actually, do you think you've noticed a far bigger social media clambering for the show with this season than in previous years?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like, it's almost like season 3, it's become mainstream. Like the first 2 seasons, it was very much kind of like, you know, if you liked it, you watched it. Whereas season 3... it seems like finally everyone else has kind of come on board and gone, wow, this shit awesome.
Do you, I saw something the other day talking about different shows across streaming services and stuff, and how lockdown kind of made and or broke certain shows. And a lot of people are saying The Boys is one that's possibly been made because a lot of people perhaps watched episode 1 and went, "Ooh, not for me," or just looked at the trailer and thought, "No, not for me." But in lockdown, we're like running out of new content, and we're kind of like, "Okay, there's nothing being made. There's nothing new in the cinema. I'm stuck in my house. I'll give that show a go, or I'll give that show another go, and I'll see how I get on." And I genuinely believe, even though it is gratuitous in every sense of the word, it is a very good show.
Yes. Very
well written, very well acted. And I do think if people gave it that opportunity again, you know, in lockdown, I got nothing else to watch, I'm gonna watch this show. They probably have had a lot of people go back and watch seasons 1 and 2, and now 3 is dropped. That's why we're seeing this far bigger reach, because our podcast, for example, talking about The Boys, averaged in the hundreds for people listening for seasons 1 and 2. I think we did a season 1 recap in full, and that show had about 500 people listen to it. And we had an average of 400 to 6, you know, between 400 and the highest I think was 700 and something for each episode of season 2.
Mm-hmm.
We're now into season 3. This will be our 7th episode, and we're in the thousands. You know, so I know our show is small compared to a lot, but I think it goes to show that the general audience for The Boys is much bigger this time around.
I think so, yeah. And it's still crazy. Like, the idea of 1,000 or so people just sat in a room listening to us is still weird. Like, you know, we're just two blokes that enjoy TV stuff, bit of a geek, and enjoy chatting about it. And you guys will listen to it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
That'll be my speech when we one day win an award for this podcast. That's my speech.
Wow.
We're just two guys that like talking about stuff. You guys listen. Thank you very much.
This is already an award-winning podcast. I mean, it won the award Stuff and Things Podcast Awards Best Podcast.
That is true.
Anyway, I'll grow up one day. So let's actually focus in on this episode. Then no, it's a trap. The fact that 39, I'm still meant. Sorry, showbiz age. I'm 25.
Yeah.
25. Showbiz age. Let's dive in then. Now, I've done this a lot recently, and it seems that people quite like it. So I'm going to focus in on characters, and rather than walking through the show in a linear way, kind of focusing on the individual storylines. And I want to start with Black Noir, if you don't mind.
I'm so glad you wanted to start with him. Mate, what the...
Yeah, okay. Now, this is the Boys podcast, so you can finish that sentence.
Damn! Yeah.
Oh, that was what you were going to say. Okay, I was going to say, what the fuck?
No, I've got to behave these days, because I keep getting told off. After every podcast we do, I get told off, so I'm behaving.
Nah, you're alright. When it's the Boys, you're fine with me. When you were like halfway through talking about like some Disney movie, we gotta be more careful.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah, and also we cannot bring this energy to Ms. Marvel.
No, we did that once.
No, we did that once. Yeah, anyone who listens, and I don't think there's a massive crossover listening audience. I've got to be honest with you. There are a few of you. I do see you when I study the data when I can't sleep at 1 a.m. Nothing knocks me out more, man. It's just podcast listener data. But yeah, anyway. So Black Noir, we are aware in the episode prior to this, he finds out the Soldier Boy's alive.
Yeah.
And he like runs. He cuts his tracker out grossly, gets on his bike and gets the hell out of Vault.
Yeah.
Me and you were in kind of two minds on this. We were kind of like, okay, is he running away from Soldier Boy? Is he running to be by his side? Later in the episode, we learned that Black Noir was the one who apparently orchestrated it, and we were both like, wow, damn, that's he was running for his life then, basically. Yeah. We then get in this episode what I would class as the most bizarre flashback sequence in the history of flashback sequences.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, no, it's so yeah, he goes out into the diner, I guess. It's like all these cartoon characters from his childhood are apparently what get him through life. And I'm like, wait, what?
I just... Like, I was watching it, and you know, like, sometimes... And this show especially, this show can do this better than most. Where you take a concept that's absolutely batshit, and you put it on the screen. And, like, if someone wrote that down, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to have this character, Black Noir, go into this abandoned kind of burger place. And all of the cartoony characters on the wall are going to come to life as animation. And they're going to talk to him and basically say that they're his family and they're there for him. Like they were when he was a small child and he punched someone in the ball pit and, you know, all of this stuff. And I'm kind of like... I mean, I think my reaction if someone pitched this to me would be, are you fucking high?
Yeah, that is batshit crazy.
Yeah, what? You know, you get paid as a writer, yeah? You know, you are aware that this is your profession, and yet I'm watching it on the screen, and I'm kind of like, oh, yeah, it makes sense.
I think that's what worries me the most is the fact that I'm watching it going, yeah, I'm fully on board with this. Like, I'm following it, I know what's going on, and I'm fully like, yeah, okay. And I can't tell if that says more about the show or myself.
Yeah, well, I think it's an investigation we perhaps don't want to make, if that makes sense. I'm not sure that's a Yeah, let's not pull at that thread. I was literally about to overanalyze that. No, let's not. But like we said, there is this bizarre flashback with the animated characters, and we basically find out that his time with Soldier Boy in that group at that time was awful. Soldier Boy was the definition of what I would call the bully. I mean, my note on this is literally bizarre flashback, Soldier Boy flashback, he is a dick. The whole team hated him as well. And I think that's important because we kind of got that from the Crimson Countess of like, we all hated you. But you kind of didn't know whether that was just nasty words to try and make him feel bad or whether that was genuine. And you see that flashback where he... you know, and you see the flashback where Soldier Boy is just beating on Black Noir. Yeah. And they're all just stood there like freaked out, like, what are you doing? You're killing him. And then we also see the flashback of that fight, you know, the thing, and you actually find out that Noir isn't, because I always assumed he was hit by like one of the bombs that went off.
Yeah, that's it. No. Yeah, we thought it was shrapnel damage or something like that. No. That's done by him. Yeah,
that was Soldier Boy did that to him. I mean, that's next level, isn't it? I mean, that's just kind of like, so Noir obviously is aware. I mean, this is kind of like a repressed memory they're giving him. Like, you know, this is how this happened to you, and he's spent his entire life since then in that mask, clearly effed up. You know, clearly messed up.
Yeah.
And also, we learn in that it wasn't Noir's idea. It was actually Stan Edgar.
Yep, he was around and he was making the big calls and eating the peanuts, even though Noir's allergic to them right in front of him. Yeah.
Yeah, what a great guy Stan Edgar is. Now, we've discussed how Stan Edgar is stone cold. He is in this scene as well, even this bizarre circumstances. He still radiates this ridiculous level of confidence, which surely you should not have when surrounded by these people.
Yep.
And yet he does. I'm still fascinated by that. I know I talk about it a lot, but I'm really fascinated.
It will be fun to see if they do kind of touch on it.
But, you know, like we talked about Black Widow with that pheromone thing where they couldn't actually deal any harm. I'd love that. I'd love it if Stan Edgar has that built in. So when Homelander finally like snaps with him and goes to kill him, he actually can't. And he's like, "What? Why can't I?" And he just goes, "You think I wouldn't make you all with a little insurance?" Or, you know how that guy delivers his lines.
Yes.
Oh, I'd love that. And it would possibly mean that the only person who could kill him would be Ryan. Do you know what I mean? Like Ryan's the only natural born kind of soup.
Yeah.
That could be fun.
All Compound V has this little bit in it that protects him,
See, I'd love that. It's probably not going to... I'm creating a headcanon here, which is always dangerous. Because,
and now, if it doesn't happen...
boo, the show sucks. Yeah. Black Noir, as we've discussed, crazy, batshit scenes, but I think kind of important because it gives us that greater context. Homelander scenes.
This episode had a lot. Like, this episode had a lot of the, like, the flashbacky sort of things. We get two different characters kind of... almost like their origin story sort of build-ups done so cleverly and so differently.
Very, very differently. I think that's the key thing. Both
as dark as each other's, yet one of them is kind of comical to watch and the other one makes you go, damn.
Yeah, I think when we get onto the Butcher stuff in a minute, I think the damn moment for me was because we kind of already knew a lot of that, but actually seeing it played out was rough.
Yeah.
But the damn moment for me was at the end of it all, he's still a prick. Like, his decision at the end of this episode, like, really, I was kind of like, Butcher, everyone on our podcast knows I'm pulling for you every week, and I've just gone, no, you've crossed the line, dude. That was bad.
We will get onto that. Yes.
We will. So I want to talk about Homelander next, because we get to see him go and see Queen Maeve.
She's alive!
She is alive.
She wasn't done up horribly at Herogasm, so this is good.
that was such a... Again, I'm kind of judging me and you that our heads went there and this show didn't.
Yeah.
Like if me and you were out messed up this show, do you think me and you, either we need to write into them and say, hey, we got ideas for you, and they go, we love them, or me and you need to really maybe have a chat with a medical professional?
I may need to go see someone.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I'm delighted we were both wrong on that. So let's just shuffle it under the rug. She is alive. She's okay. Yeah, do it. Screw it.
We've had these ideas. Yeah.
Yeah, and we can't make our mind up if we need help or we need to be put on your writing staff, one or the other.
Let us know.
That would actually be a very funny opening to an email, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Like, hey, we've written this scene for you, and either we're sick and we need to see medical professionals, or you're gonna love it and put us on staff.
One of the other.
I mean that'd grab my attention if I was reading it. So anyway, sorry, Homelander. Maeve is okay in his sense of she's physically looks okay, but she's basically locked in like an asylum almost. You know, literally white walls, white cell. She's in like a jumpsuit thing. Her clothes have gone.
Yeah.
And me and you have talked a lot about this. The guy who plays Homelander does an incredible job of just making his presence as menacing as possible. Yeah. And he starts this conversation and I'm kind of thinking, I really hope he's not going where I think he's going. With this kind of like, imagine what our children would have been. And he even says like, oh, a child far more powerful than that Ryan, because it'd be from both of us.
Yeah.
And I was getting more and more. And then Maeve, the thing that I liked is like, I'm picking up on that. And I like the fact the character did. Like Maeve was like, anything that goes in me, I'm breaking off. And I was like, oh, damn. Oh, yeah, she means that. And the disturbing thing is his like, oh, I'd never do that to you. No, I'd never, ever do that. That's not... No, I'm just going to harvest your eggs.
Yep. It went from kind of like... that. It went to one level of sickness to a different level of sickness.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you are so dark. And like the way he said it, it was like... Basically, he's keeping her alive, keeping her in that cell as a kind of, literally, he's just going to harvest her out. And she, like, the look on her face, and it is messed, like, it is so bad. Like, you're just like, you are a villain in every sense. There is no redemption. There's no kind of, oh, I understand him because of this. You know, like some villains in things, you kind of have their side of it, and you think, oh, anyone would end up like that if they went through that childhood sort of thing.
Yeah, no,
Homelander. Yeah. Unadulterated shitbag. Possibly taken after his parents. We'll come on to that. He's then at a rally doing this talk. And what I found interesting in this is Queen Maeve says to him, like, I've seen you scared. Like, you know, if I die now, I've seen that. I never thought I would. You are afraid.
Yeah, she said about how it's one of her top 3 days ever because she's seen him scared. And you're like, damn.
Yeah, and that's getting at him. And you can see he's bothering him. And then he does this talk and he starts to see Soldier Boy walk through the crowd. He even lights his eyes up like he's ready to fight and then realises it's not him. Just a normal guy in the crowd. Yeah, he's freaked out, and he, you know, when he's freaked out, what does he like to do? Kill people. He likes to drink some milk.
Oh yes, of course, yeah. Yeah, that was a scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
I have often asked the question, and I think Anthony Starr, the actor, needs to ask himself this question as well. What did the first person to milk a cow think they were doing? Yeah. So Anthony Starr makes milking a cow into a kind of very disturbing sexual event.
Yeah, the faces he was pulling and everything. I'm like, I couldn't tell if he was gagging at the idea he was doing it, or if that was him being kind of like a bit pleasured by it.
Me and you talk about how we possibly need to seek medical help over our script ideas for the boys. I feel like Anthony Starr, after every scene, someone should hug him and tell him he's okay. Like, someone needs to go up to that guy and just give him a big hug and go, Anthony, you are a good person. You do not need to think about this anymore. It's done. This scene is done. we all love you. You just...
well done, thank you. Now go relax.
I mean, they must keep the set fairly light and jokey, because otherwise you'd be losing your damn mind filming stuff like this. But yeah, he films it, and he runs into the woman I like to affectionately call the head popper.
The head popper, yep, Newman.
Yeah, Victoria Newman, she hands him... She tries to basically... I mean, she's making an alliance, you know. You need to lock your shit up. You need to get in control of things. You need to come out ahead of this. Tell everyone it's Soldier Boy and how you're going to deal with it. And then she gives him an address.
Yeah.
Is that an address for Ryan? Or... Because I kind of feel like that happened, but then I didn't get a definitive what was going on.
Yeah, I was a bit confused. I didn't realise at first it was an address. I thought it was kind of like here's my demands or something like that. And then it's like, why?
No, I thought,
whose was it? What was it? Why was it?
Because he kind of says, like, how did you get this? And I mean, it's just my assumption. I could be wrong, but that was what I thought it was. Again, people listening, get in touch. Let us know if I've missed that. Normally I try to watch twice, but I've only watched it once this week.
Yeah, no, if you missed it, so did I. But it was the fact that nothing came back to it either. Normally stuff comes back to it quite quickly, and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, he wasn't actually a massive part in this episode. Him speaking at that event did play a big part in MM's arc in this episode, but well, that brings us onto it quite nicely, actually, onto MM, Starlight, as I'm still going to call her, Frenchie, and Kimiko.
Yes.
MM confronts and then decks his ex's new husband over taking his daughter to a Homelander rally.
In fairness, the reason he punches him, I'm kind of like, yeah, he deserved that.
Massively, actually. I think a lot of us listening have been from, what do they call it now, blended families. I think it's the nice term for when you've got step this, step that, and fathers, mothers, and exes, and you're all trying to get along and do everything you can for the kids. And I'm looking at this as objectively as I possibly can from his point of view, and Homelander is spouting some pretty dark racist bullshit. And I know that this show's holding a mirror at the society, but we're not going to delve into that right now. But focusing purely on the show, I can well understand why he doesn't want his daughter there. Now, he actually makes he makes a better point even, which is someone is currently trying to take out Homelander. Like, it is on the news and stuff like that, or it is out there that they are under attack. Please do not have my daughter anywhere near this guy because you're putting her at risk. And the guy's like, nah, that's all fake news. Homelander says we got nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of level of frustration and anger, and then the guy just being a prick about it. I mean, yeah, he deserved to get smacked in the mouth, in my opinion. I think MM's done well not to smack him to this point.
Yeah, he's done well holding it back so far, but then this was that one lie, and it was like, yeah, you're done.
The sad thing is, of course, he's done that in front of his daughter.
Yes.
Who noticeably is upset. And again, speaking as a father now, I would never want to act that way in front of my child, definitely, regardless of the provocation. Yeah. So I completely understand what MM did, completely support him in what he did. You know, if I'm his mate at the pub, I'd say, damn, dude, yeah, that guy got off light. But
yeah.
I, at the same time, would look at that and go, I should have done better. You know, if it was me, I'm my harshest critic in the world. I'd walk away from that and just be mad at myself.
Yeah, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Yeah.
Yeah. This group then, Starlight and MM, as we know, were together at the end of the last episode. Frenchie and Kimiko join them. The pair of them are beat up. Frenchie's high and is so off his brains at this point, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Kimiko, interestingly, needs healing, and Starlight's helping her. We discussed this last week, whether Compound V being used again would give her abilities back or what would happen. And
Apparently
that's how
it's
the
true.
story goes in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Kimiko asks Starlight to get it for her because she wants her powers back. And she kind of knew that everyone would be against it for her because of how she's been.
Yeah.
But what was interesting, I think, is Kimiko's kind of journey is she's blamed V for making her evil. But she's actually realised that no, I have been brought up badly, treated badly, so my actions are my own. The V just makes me more powerful.
Doesn't it?
So
Butcher
now
says the same thing. Butcher says, the V just makes me more me.
Yeah, exactly right. And we kind of already seen examples of that. I mean, Starlight's not a bad person. Starlight and Supersonic, and a few of them. There is no doubt there are supes out there who are genuinely, into the greater good other than themselves. Queen Maeve, you can tell now she's in a position where she regrets wholeheartedly being involved in most of this crap and just wants to help people.
Yes.
So it is interesting to me that Kimiko, with that realization, is like, well, actually, now I've got that knowledge in my head that this isn't what's wrecking me. I am actually still in control. I want it back. Because by having it back, I am able to fight. Yeah, I'm able to fight and protect the people I love. Yeah, and that swayed Starlight. So Starlight went to the lab, which was a big risk for her to get it.
Would it just? Now that surprised me. I understand that Kimiko kind of came in with the reasoning behind it and made her read her reason. But yeah, just wondering, okay, she uses her little eye trick to turn the cameras off and stuff. But I'm like, oh, that's like a suicide mission walking in there.
Yeah.
And it very nearly was, apart from the fact she's very clever.
Well, I was about to say, she's growing up a lot, isn't she? And she's become far smarter in what she's doing, and she went in there. There's two parts of this. One is bumping into Homelander, one is the information she finds. So let's do that bit first.
Okay.
She gets the compound V, she puts it away, and she turns around and she sees what we're calling temp V, which I quite like, the terminology. And then she finds all of the lab notes with kind of a massive stage testing, and we've now noticed if you use it over so many times, you're basically going to kill yourself.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, Huey, oh my God, I need to warn Huey. She gets out there, she goes to the elevator, she's, being casual, as you like, leaving the building, and Homelander rocks up. I'm immediately in that kind of, this scene's going to be so uncomfortable because he's so good at that. But actually, in this scene, it felt to me like she was being quite calm. She was like Stan Edgar in this scene. And I just kept thinking to myself, damn, she's either really confident he won't do anything to her, or she knows something I don't know. Do you know what I mean? It was like, damn, she's being really... Do you know what, Homelander? Fuck off.
That's what got me. Like, how brave, just how kind of resilient she was. Just stood there, just chatting down, like, no, that's not what's going to happen. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. And it's like, we know we're seeing another side of her, but I'm like, this is not the side to play.
Yeah,
like, this is bad.
I was thinking this could go bad. And then when he basically makes the threat to Huey, like, did I remind you after what I did to Supersonic, what I do to Huey? And she's like, no, but tell me, and gets her phone out of her pocket, and she's been live streaming everything he said.
Yeah.
Mate, that's... Oof. He then tried to play it off as, you're not supposed to record us when we're running lines. Yeah. But he's done. Come on, there's no way they're spinning that. They're going to try, of course they are, but... You got to think he's done in the public
eye. We catch him later on the phone, near the end of the episode. Obviously, at the very end of the episode, he's on the phone and he's telling her, you spin this, you spin it, you make it look good. That's your job. And it's like, I don't see how.
That woman's bold now, isn't she? There's no way she's not ripping chunks of her hair out.
Oh, no. Yep.
So Starlight does get away, does get back with the V, and does give it to Kimiko, and she does heal. So Kimiko is back as a badass, although she was anyway, by the way.
Yep.
But she's a V-powered badass again. And then this group here are kind of very anti-Butcher, basically. They're kind of seeing Butcher as much of a villain right now as any other Soup. He's running around with the Temp V.
Yeah.
He's not listening to them. He's very much a one-man wrecking ball and doesn't care who gets hurt in the process. He's just out to kill Homelander, and anyone who gets in the way is collateral damage, which is basically everything they've been fighting against with the Soups.
Yeah, he is now... Like, it's funny because what his actual mission from day one has not changed.
No.
From day one, it was, I'm going to kill Homelander.
Yeah.
So, in a sense, he's not changed because that's still his end goal. But the way he's kind of gone about it now, he's making everyone go, oh, wait a minute.
Well, I think as a group, as a group, they were taking down Soups with the goal of taking down Homelander, and they were trying to do it in a way that didn't maximum collateral damage. They were trying to just take out the individuals. When it comes to Butcher now, I don't think he cares. And I think that's demonstrated brilliantly in the moment where there is a phone call from Starlight to him to say, hey, this Temp V, it's going to kill you. It's going to kill Huey.
3 to 5 doses, yeah.
Yeah, I've just read the research. How many have you had? And he's like, oh, okay, love, don't worry. I'll tell him. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
And then he makes the decision not to tell him.
He was so close to telling him, so close, and then doesn't.
So now what makes that worse, of course, is what comes before. So let's dive into the Soldier Boy, Butcher, and Huey arc from this episode.
Okay, yeah.
Soldier Boy, Huey, and Butcher are hunting down the next person on Soldier Boy's list from Payback. And that's a character called Mindstorm.
Yeah.
Mindstorm has the ability to lock people into their own minds, basically creating a loop nightmare for them. And as Soldier Boy describes it to Huey, basically you'll just die from it because you're locked in your mind. You'll die of dehydration, starvation. You're dead.
Now, I've got to be honest with you. Of all the Soups that we've met so far,
this
is probably the one I'm most scared of. Imagine just being locked into your own worst memory and just being locked
until you die. That's it. And then you're dead. And it's also, we and you have talked a few times about kind of similarities, between famous comic book characters and characters in The Boys. Is this Professor X, do you think?
Oh, maybe.
Because he has that ability.
That sort of ability, yeah, potentially.
I know visually and everything very different, but powers-wise, I kind of thought.
Yeah, I didn't even click that.
Yeah, that could just be me.
I was too busy going, my God, I would hate that so much. Like, whoa.
Yeah, it's awful. I mean, and Soldier Boy says, like, oh, don't make eye contact. If he looks at you, shut your eyes straight away.
Yeah.
I mean, Mindstorm basically manages to ambush the three of them, and he manages to get into Butcher's head and lock Butcher into a nightmare. We'll circle to the nightmare in a moment because it leads on to the other conversation. But what was interesting is Soldier Boy don't give a crap. He's like, yeah, he's dead. Move on.
Yep.
Huey obviously doesn't want to leave him behind. He's like, wants to save him. And Soldier Boy's just like, no, there is no saving him. He is dead because the only person who can lift it is Mindstorm, and I'm about to go crack that guy's head open like a friggin' walnut. Huey seems to accept it in a sense, and he leaves a bag behind, putting something under Butcher's head like a pillow.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, he ain't accepting it. There's no way he's accepting it.
And obviously just before this scene, we've had the fun scene of Huey and the Legend, where the Legend kind of admits that, no, pretty much everything about Soldier Boy was just a staged kind of make it look good. America needed a hero, so we gave them one. Whereas,
mate, that's actually a really important scene that you've pointed out there that I've kind of skipped over, and there's a reason I skipped over the scenes at the Legend's house. I'm not comfortable with his gilf choices and his a bit drier. So you need.
They're experienced, but a little drier.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
It's the fucking
Soldier Boy.
It's the fact it's the cleaners, and the Legend is like, great, I'm now never going to be able to fire them, am I? Brilliant, thanks, mate.
Yeah.
That That was his thing.
Yeah,
for
but
it, 'cause I could
you've
never
raised an important point now. I think I was trying to erase the scenes at the Legends house from my mind.
Yeah.
But you're right. Legend does tell Huey that all of the Soldier Boy stick is bullshit.
Yeah.
He didn't storm the beaches at Normandy. He didn't fight the Nazis. He literally rocked up days later with a film crew and acted like he did all that crap. He is literally a propaganda tool. He is what
But
Captain
he
America
believed
was
it.
supposed to be. He
Yeah.
he seems to have either he believes his own bullshit or someone has convinced him, or just over time he's been locked away so long his mind's like, yeah, I did that. Of course I did. Look, it's on the telly. It's on a film.
Yeah.
Of course I did it. So yeah, and when Huey gets in his face about it, he does plant Huey.
Don't he just?
Luckily, Huey's on temp V at that time, so he can take the punch. Otherwise, I think that'd have broke him in half.
Yeah.
There is. I'm going to give you a prompt for a scene. I've written a bullet point, okay, and I'm going to let you. I'm going to let you run with it. So, all my bullet point says priest and nun scene.
I felt so sorry for Huey. So sorry.
I know.
'Cause he's like, dude, you can't just shoot a priest. And he's like, no. That's what Mindstorm does. This is the same thing. It's always the same script. I can see what's happening. Now he's desperately trying to shoot the nun. Huey's like, no.
Yeah.
Look, there's lines we
Yeah.
don't cross, okay? Shooting the religious figures. Let's not shoot that. And then all of a sudden she jumps on his back. You dickhead, I'm going to kill you. It was like, wait,
trying to bite his throat out, and then he's like, shoot her, and he's like, well, you need to stay still. Yeah.
It's like, wait, what? And at that point, Huey's like, no, I'm done. I'm done now.
It's when Huey looks back and there's a priest and a nun just with bullet holes in their heads, bleeding, all over the road, and he's kind of like, oh, what is my life? Why
did I get to this stage?
Yeah. But the funniest thing about that, of course, is the fact Soldier Boy was right, which is kind of like this, he's this is what he does, because you're kind of like, Huey, bless you, don't let this corrupt you, because please do not let your mind become like these guys where everyone you see you're now like, no, you're out to kill me, aren't you?
Yeah.
Because it could easily go that way, given that.
Oh, jeez, couldn't it?
So they do catch up with Mindstorm. They kind of track him to this building, and Huey grabs him, teleporting him out, getting back to Butcher.
Huey needs to find teleportation pants.
Huey needs to speak to some scientists at Vault and get himself... I did laugh the other day. I saw an interview with the cast, and he got asked what power he would like, and he said teleportation, but I get to keep my clothes on, and all the rest of the cast just pissed themselves laughing.
Yeah.
So clearly this is a running joke for that poor git. But we find out he had that plan all along, because the bag he left behind was a bag full of clothes. So he does the deal with Mindstorm and says, look, release my friend Butcher, and I will teleport you away from Soldier Boy. I will save you from him.
Well, yeah, he tried to at least. Good old Huey. The idea was there.
To be fair, I think Huey was going to do it.
Yeah.
The Mindstorm does release Butcher from the nightmare. Again, we're going to circle back to the nightmare. And then Soldier Boy catches up with him, though. Soldier Boy pummels him, holds him down, puts literally a bag over his head so he can't look at him.
Yeah.
And one thing happens away from the camera is he tells Soldier Boy something, and you hear Soldier Boy react in a very angry, no way kind of way. Kind of like, no, I don't believe it.
And then
no
he
way.
caves his face in with the edge of the
And
shield.
then he absolutely caves him in with that shield. I mean, like, destroys him with it.
Yeah.
So that obviously is the very last thing we're going to talk about. So let's talk about this nightmare. Butcher.
Yeah. Now, like you said, we kind of already knew about most of this stuff.
We knew his father beat them and treated them awfully.
Yeah.
We knew Lenny had died. We kind of pieced together Lenny had killed himself. We knew from Butcher's mother that basically Lenny was kept Butcher from being evil. Basically kept Butcher from being his dad. And what we see here in this flashback is Butcher's far more like his dad than we want to realise.
Yeah, and he just... Yeah,
And
a lot of things keep happening where you're like, oh dear. Oh dear.
But
yeah.
they merged it in, didn't they, with the flashback merging him with his memories. So it was kind of like he watched the flashback of what his dad was saying and then realised that was something he did himself and he said himself.
And mostly to
his
Huey.
dad...
Like, you realise just how much Huey was kind of taking over the part of his little brother.
Yeah, massively.
Which makes things worse. Yeah.
And then you get to see this scene, but you start to see Butcher reacting to what he's seeing. Like, don't listen to him, kid, don't listen to him. He's like he's got these massive, massive regrets. And eventually you see Lenny, well, you don't see it, but you know Lenny shoots himself.
Yeah.
And the whole scene is done where basically Lenny's communicating with Butcher like, you left me no choice.
Yeah.
It is literally Butcher's nightmare. This is what he's trapped in. Now, Huey does get him out of that. And I kind of look at that and I think we're going to get a very different Butcher now. This has to be...
Yeah, he wakes up and the first thing he does is like, I'm so sorry, Huey. Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking to myself, there's no way that we don't... This is where he comes back a little bit. He comes back more towards the light, I think. This is a wake-up call. This is a really good way that they've done this. I think this is considering where he was, is he going to choose revenge or is he going to choose family? He put himself first when he left Lenny before, kind of like all of these things. I'm like, okay, this really works. So when he gets that phone call from Starlight about 10th V and Huey arrives and he says, it's about the 10th V, he says that to him and he's like, okay, what? And you're kind of like, go on, say it, say the words, say we can't take it anymore, say it's hurting us, say your missus is cool and apparently it's deadly. Come on, use words.
Yeah, that
and then
stuff
he says we need to pick up more of it.
Yeah, when she tells me, it's like Swiss cheese your brain, like sort of thing, and it's like they've both know. Like I think Huey even says, "Butcher, your brain's leaking out your ear again."
Yeah,
and it's like ha ha ha. And now you're like, "Oh crap! Wait a minute, no, that's literally what's happening." Oh,
so they are literally killing themselves with this stuff, and Butcher's made the decision he's going to take Huey with him. Yeah. At least that's how it seems at the moment. I'm still finding it difficult. I'm still fighting Butcher's corner here. I'm still finding it hard to believe that when he goes back to the office and gets his stuff, he's not going to do something like tying Huey to the desk and saying, right, I'm leaving you here, kid. This is on me. This is my mission. I'm going to go finish it. This stuff's killing us. I'm fine with it killing me. I'm not letting it kill you. Do you know what I mean? That sort of thing.
I'm really hoping that's what happens, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, it's Butcher. Is that what
misery likes
do?
Company and all that?
Yeah.
I don't know, and that's the thing, we don't know, which is why it's such a well-written show. Because either one of those scenarios, you go, yeah, that makes sense. And there's very few shows where you could say that. A lot of the time, you've got these characters, and you go, well, wait a minute, that's out of character when they did that. With this, him going either way, which are polar opposites, would make sense. So that just shows how nuanced and how well it's been done. So. I mean, that kind of thing. We know that Frenchie, Kimiko, and Starlight now plan to save Huey from Butcher. Yeah. This is how far this has gone. They are literally going to try and get Huey away from him. That's their goal. They're not focusing on anything else. And that, again, in itself is kind of sad and really, really quite bad of where we are with Butcher right now.
But Starlight wants to save him, so yay! They're still okay. Maybe.
No, I don't know. I think, I think she got her eye on now.
Oh,
poor Huey. The last bit then, the last thing that I've got as a bullet point is the final scene is Homelander.
Oh, wait! We want to end on that. We need to talk quickly about the Deep.
Oh, okay. See. Yeah, go on. You run with that. Again, this is one that I was trying to erase from my mind.
Repressive with your brain. But it's kind of interesting because he's now convinced that actually he's doing all the hard work and he's got himself where he is all by himself because, Cassandra's helped me with a couple of lines, but I'm where I need to be. And it looks like she's now kind of upped and left and gone, all right, see you later. Good luck with that.
To be clear, and I think this is why I'm happy to hand this to you, would you like to explain to our lovely listeners who perhaps have also repressed this from their mind, why she decided no, enough's enough?
Well, the Deep wanted to expand their sexual relationship. And
interesting. And in what way did he want to do that?
He thought it would spice up their relationship by adding another being to their relationship.
Now, terminology-wise, an extra being is interesting. Are you suggesting that he liked the advent of Herogasm so much, where he fucked a squid, he wanted to introduce this same creature to the bedroom with him and his very human wife?
Yeah, he did, yeah. Now, I am a little bit of an animal geek.
You are.
Especially underwater. Like, I wouldn't go as far as call myself an Aquaman or the Deep. Don't get me wrong. I'm not that in tune with them.
I'm really worried about where this is going.
But I am a big fan of underwater animals. Like, I watch a lot of documentaries on.
Yeah.
Water,
I'm still really nervous. Yep.
At no point in my life have I ever gone to like that thought process of an animal, let alone No, you're fine on that. You're fine. I'm just clearing that one up because I thought that's where you might be going. Octopuses have a beak in that area. Now, this tells me the Deep has got an extremely small penis if he's able to do anything with an octopus because it has a freaking beak.
Again,
just throwing that one out there. Just throwing that one out there. But I feel up. First, there was Timothy, who was having the flirty conversation whilst having sex with his wife, with Timothy, who he then had to eat. And now he's found a giant octopus at Herogasm and brought it home and kept it in his tank. No, it's all right, babe. She'll calm down. Oh my God, it's an octopus. What is wrong with you? Oh, it's so wrong.
Yeah.
So wrong. So wrong.
I don't know. I mean, I can't work this out now. I'm kind of in this dark place where it was bad enough the scene happened. It's bad enough that we then decided to talk about it because I was trying to run away from it. The part where his wife has left him is valid. Yes, that's important, and I should have mentioned it. You're right.
It'll be interesting to see where that goes. Now, I kind of want to skip over the rest of it and just talk about Cassandra.
But you've taken it to a point where you've assessed this.
I don't want to say assessed.
And your assessment is he has a small penis. So
octopus have a beak. It's a mouth.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, it's not right. It's so not right.
But why think about it? Why not just go, that's gross, and move on?
I am thinking it's gross and trying to move on, but you keep circling back now. You're circling back.
This is such a bad thought process. I think that medical professional. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I'm phoning the doctor.
I think I'm going to explain it to him. I'm going to explain everything, and the doctor's just going to go, "Wow, you've been watching The Boys a lot, haven't you?" Like, yeah.
How did you know?
I got to analyse it.
How did you know?
I do a podcast where I analyse the scenes and talk about it, and it's making me crazy.
There was a guy that shrunk and crawled up a mountain, and now there's a man doing it with octopus.
No.
You sir.
Anytime I've got an itch there now, I'm worried I might hear a little sneeze and die. Anyway, so Soldier Boy makes a phone call to Homelander.
Yes.
Homelander's like, "Is it really you?" And he's like, "Yes, it's really me." And then we get the bombshell.
Daddy's on.
Soldier Boy reveals what basically he's been told, and he didn't deliver the line quite how I would have, but, hello, I'm your daddy. He basically says to him that it was my DNA they used, me.
The way he describes it, I had to jerk off into a cup and out you came. Oh, okay, lovely, yeah. Now,
basically, Soldier Boy is his dad.
Now, this has really annoyed me for one reason.
Go on.
A couple of weeks ago, we did a podcast about The Boys, and I was so close to making a joke so close about making a joke of, could you imagine if actually that's how they made Homelander? Because we all knew Homelander was made in a test tube sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I was so close to making a joke about, can you imagine if actually they took like America's Hero and that's how they made Homelander? And I thought to myself, that's ridiculous. They would have touched on that somewhere. Didn't say a damn word. And now I'm sat here and I sound like I'm bullshitting to make myself sound clever. But I almost said it. I'm like,
can I clarify though? And I think this is important for our listeners. You thought that and you decided not to say it.
Yeah.
This week, you thought about the Deep having a small penis due to the size of the creature he's fucking, and you decided to say that.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, to really, I think you need to. Do you know what? I'm gonna give you some numbers. There's some people you can call, but you're right, and I know you well enough that if you didn't think stuff or didn't see it, you just say it. So I believe you when you say you had the idea. But let this be a lesson. Do say it, because I think a couple of weeks ago, I'd have said, "Oh, that's interesting," and then this week you could be a smug prick about it. Like you could really strut your stuff.
Yeah, no, they said it on the show when he says about it. I turned around to my wife and I was like, "Damn it!"
Yeah, well, no, I would too, but yeah, no, you need to say these things, man.
Yeah. Can we make a joke about Stormfront clearly being his mother then? Can we make that joke?
Is it a joke? I mean, that's even more disturbing for so many reasons, because
so many reasons.
At that moment, Stormfront was called Liberty, and Soldier Boy and Liberty were the kind of power, I don't know, they were the power duo.
Yeah. And
we know Stormfront can fly, and we know Homelander can fly, which is not something Soldier Boy can do. So when they were meshing DNA to create this new soup, do you think they possibly blended the two together?
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
Because we haven't really seen another soup that can fly.
No. So that probably means that he was banging his mum recently.
Yeah.
Oh, this show, man. This show.
So fucked up.
So messed up. Yeah. So there we go. I mean, that is episode 7 of season 3. Still no clue why it was titled the way it was, but it was. So let's go with it.
Wait for next week's The Instant White Hot Wild. What the heck is that going to be about?
With this show, I dread to think, to be honest with you. So I want to say a massive thank you to everybody for listening, everyone for interacting. It's always great fun to see messages and emails and stuff on any of the shows we talk about. With this one, most of the messages we get are pretty messed up, so thank you, and I enjoy reading them.
Yeah.
No, I'm not reading them out. In fact, I'm going to say one right now. Sarah from Coventry, that was disgusting. That is literally all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, you're probably right as well. But again,
oh my God.
Massive thank you to everybody. You all take care. We'll be back next week to discuss the finale of The Boys. Speak to you then.
That's a wrap.
Thank you for listening to the Stuff and Things podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. You can find us on Facebook or online. Simply search the Stuff and Things podcast to join in our conversation every week.
What's Sporty Spice up to? Who? Sporty fucking Spice, what's she up to? I don't know. Exactly. How about Posh? You know what she's doing?
I don't understand.
Making clothes for anorexics, all right? Not exactly a growth market. And Baby, you know what she's doing? Fuck all. Not even page 6 of the Daily Mail. And Scary Spice, up to her eyeballs in lawsuits and sex tapes. Ginger, on the other hand, has released 3 albums: Passion, Schizophrenic, and Scream If You Want to Go Faster. They'll all make your ears bleed. You see, when they're apart, they're absolute fucking rubbish. But you put them together, they're the goddamn fucking Spice Girls.